Welcome to Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, your day with the podcast brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at wyomingadvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, we'll be in between weather systems today. Yesterday's weather system for some folks in southwestern Wyoming, northwest Colorado, like in the picture here, and parts of Utah and Idaho got a pretty nice shot of precipitation. But east of the divide, the system really didn't produce very much. But patterns are changing, albeit very slowly. We now await the next set of systems, so we'll be in between systems today. We have this double-barreled area of low pressure that'll be forming in the desert southwest and along the California coast here over the next couple of days. So that will bring a little bit of weather, mainly the southern areas. Quiet conditions will be noted elsewhere, with temperatures certainly not cold, but not nearly as warm as the last couple of weeks. Temperatures a little bit closer to seasonal averages, but still a bit above average. So we're not going to see much happening once this double set of systems comes through between Saturday and Monday. Seasonal temperatures, some breezy areas, but not much going on. Next week, we still are looking at Thanksgiving week changes. It appears that on a very coarse level, we've got two cold shots next week. One midweek, another one Thanksgiving weekend, and we'll take a look at that. But the details, especially with precipitation. I know a lot of you out there want snow and want to get winter going and kind of get us back on track. Details are still murky on how much precipitation will come with these cold fronts, and that's just something that we'll just have to get closer to have a better look at things. So some pretty photos coming on in across the region. How about that for a shot up in Weston County, Wyoming? Beautiful sunrises and sunsets will continue. And how about this? A snow shower activity along the east face of Elk Mountain, producing a snow bow. And some lenticular clouds forming Sunday ahead of that Pacific trough along the Tetons. We have two weather systems of note on the satellite imagery, actually three, and it's a lot easier to see them with the water vapor. We've got yesterday's system already into northwest Iowa, moving out quickly. Then here's this next low coming into Southern California, bringing more rain to the west coast and the desert southwest. Then we've got a little upper level low right up here as well. It's these two systems right here that'll be working together, but not really organizing itself as we get to the end of the week. But it still will be a weather maker. So this is where we're going to be as of around noon today. And then by noon Thursday, we see a bit of a dumbbell pattern. This system up here, as it comes south, kicks out this system, much like what we have just seen. And as we get into Thursday noon, we've got a low near the Four Corners area, but we have stretched out energy. It's not consolidating. So this system will kick out to the northeast, and by Friday, we're going to have a small upper level low over eastern areas of Colorado. The main low is going to hang back over Southern California. So this is really close to becoming a system that would be much more formidable, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be able to hold together or have a merger, so to speak. Nonetheless, as the low kicks out from here to here, it will bring in some Pacific moisture with it, and there will be some weather with it. But you can see it's really going to be focused on the southern areas. Up here, not really a lot going on other than a few showers. But you can see from California through Las Vegas, across Arizona, southern Utah, southwest Colorado, then into New Mexico, there's going to be rain and snow moving into those areas. A more concentrated area of a cold rain for Kansas and eastern Colorado. And notice there's just a little bit of a northern extent getting along the I-80 corridor. It may not make it that far north. It may stay south. We're just going to have to watch it for the I-80 corridor. It could end up being a miss or just a nick. Down further south, you can see that eastern Colorado, down into the panhandles here, you're going to have a chance of some rain, and probably the maps don't show this very well. Certainly there's going to be snow in the higher elevations. There will probably be more snow, rain changing the snow out here on the plains, and the model is showing here at the moment. But nothing that's going to add up to too much. Nonetheless, There's going to be some wet weather along the path of that upper level low that gets cut out and cut loose as it heads northeast. So let's go into what happens afterwards. After that low goes through, this is the map for Sunday. That upper level low comes out of Southern California and heads into Arizona and New Mexico. So there is still going to be rain shower activity down here and higher elevation snow as that system scoots south. But it's completely detached, mostly from the jet stream. So Pacific air floods the zone. So ahead of this next change of the weather, as we get into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and probably most of Tuesday, there really won't be a lot going on because it'll be a zonal flow. Pacific dominated, Canadian air still locked up. That'll take us through Tuesday. Then the two shots of colder weather, again, I said this is on a course basis. We just have to fine tune things as we get closer. But as we get into Tuesday, Monday night and Tuesday, there's going to be a push of colder Canadian air coming out of British Columbia, out of Alaska, out of the Northwest Territories, and kind of building up behind this system here as it swings across southern Canada and into the Dakotas. So there's going to be some colder air building on the backside of the system. So late Tuesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday into Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, the first salvo of cold. High pressure building along the west coast will help initiate that flow difference. So we'll go from a Pacific-dominated flow here to starting to get Western Canadian air into the north central and western United States during the latter half of Tuesday and the Tuesday night and Wednesday. By Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, a couple of things happen here you need to take note of. Notice the deepening low south of Hudson Bay. And the counterclockwise flow here will strengthen the flow of a shot of colder Canadian air. Also, I want you to notice the high pressure ridge building here. So if we compare what's going on around noon Tuesday to the morning of Thanksgiving Day, we have the high pressure ridge not building yet, so it's not able to amplify. So it's still a northwesterly flow. But by Thanksgiving morning, it becomes much more of a northerly flow into the U.S. So basically, the door to Canada begins a little crack in the Canadian air. The door is open a crack, and the colder air is coming in. The crack opens up a lot more significantly on Thanksgiving Day, and hence you're going to see the colder air spill along and east of the Continental Divide, getting all the way down into the panhandles by noon on Thursday for Thanksgiving Day, and some colder air spreading out. This is colder. It's below average, so it'll be noticeably colder, and there will be a little bit of weather along with it as well, although I don't think it's going to be a lot of snowfall, but there'll be some coming on in. So this is not remarkably cold, but certainly colder. This is shot number one. Shot number two, look at the amplification of the high pressure ridge up into Alaska, the deepening of the trough in the west, and then you're getting the blue now coming into the Dakotas, coming into areas both sides of the Continental Divide. And this push really comes in Saturday into Sunday and Monday of the weekend following Thanksgiving. So the second salvo of colder air is certainly going to be most impressive. And if this pattern holds, and we're just going to have to see if it does, look at the temperature anomalies by next weekend. This is by next Sunday. Where you see the purple, you are 25 to nearly 40 degrees Fahrenheit below the 30-year average. And you can see how deep the penetration of the cold goes. Look at the north-south extent here. This is what happens when you get the flow pattern to finally change. So we're just going to have to see. But this is the second wave of cold that'll be the most intense. It's the second wave that's also going to bring more in the way of wintry weather to the region. So this is far out still, but I know a lot of you are planning your Thanksgiving travels. So we are definitely going to be having some travel concerns Thanksgiving week, especially the weekend after Thanksgiving. So stay tuned. We'll just keep an eye on things and see how things evolve. Certainly there will be changes in the maps and the charts. We just have to see how big those changes are, or if the pattern, as we're seeing here, holds steady in the modeling, because that's pretty significant cold invading the U.S. by Thanksgiving weekend. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.